Road to success and failure are exactly the same. It's just that what you choose. I'm back once again, your Ginny, your mentor for economics. For the next few weeks, who's going to help you get those wonderful marks you're aspiring for in HSC board examinations? Today we are going to start with chapter number 3A. 3A and 3B, both these chapters are talking about demand and elasticity of demand. They are very, very important. They can come down in question number 4, 5, 6. लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन मिल सकता है, 4 नंबर वाला क्वेश्चन मिल सकता है. आप ये बिल्कुल भी इग्नोर नहीं कर सकते. तो अगर आपको वो अच्छे नंबर चाहिए तो प्लीज पे अटेंशन टू व्हाट एवर आई एम सेइंग और टेलिंग यू टुडे. Look at it. The first chapter, as you can see on the screen, chapter 3A. Here we'll be talking about demand. Demand की definition क्या है, उसके पीछे rationale क्या है, क्या reasons हैं, क्यों demand होती है, उसके exceptions क्या हैं. We'll be doing everything. Let us start with first thing is what is the meaning of demand? Meaning of demand सबको पता है कि what is it that I want? Only want is not enough. That is सिर्फ desire काफी नहीं है. It's desire is not enough. Please, in your examination, you should have 2 more words: willingness and ability. Let me put it more clearly. I want 2 more words. Willingness and ability. Sirf desire is not enough. So when you say demand, you're writing anything about demand. Yeah, meaning of demand. Meaning of demand means the person has the desire and the willingness and the ability to buy a particular thing at a particular time. That is known as demand. Guys, इस समय हम याद करना चाह रहे हैं कि हम क्या ऐसा मिस करते हैं जिसकी वजह से हमको मार्क्स नहीं मिलते. So lot of people, when they are writing about the definition of demand, they're just talking about demand means desire to buy a particular item at a particular time. You will not get marks. Demand means desire to buy an item backed by the willingness and the ability to pay for that item at a particular time is demand. Coming up to the next thing. So this is what we are emphasizing here. Now, coming further. Now, look at the next 2 things they want you to know. That is short note के लिए आ सकता है 2 marks का. What is individual demand curve? Similarly, आगे what is market demand curve? Individual demand curve का मतलब what is the demand of a single consumer? So look at the graph. If we are talking about a single consumer, if the price is 10, he is wanting 1 unit. As the price reduces to 8, he is looking out for 1 more unit, 2. Now, this is an individual demand curve because this we are talking about the demand of a single individual demanding a particular product at a particular time. अभी प्राइस कम हो रहा है तो डिमांड बढ़ रही है. इसके बारे में हमने डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी में पढ़ा था. हम दोबारा से पढ़ेंगे. But please remember, this is because of DMU, right? We'll talk about it. Going further. So individual demand curve means the demand of an individual customer at a particular time is an individual demand. अगर 2 नंबर का क्वेश्चन है, you may just write the definition, make a small table, may or may not draw a graph. But if it is a 3 marker, please draw a graph as well. Even for a 2 marker, drawing a small graph will always help. So table with a small graph, as you can see. Y axis पे प्राइस है, X axis पे आपकी डिमांड है. जो डिमांड टेबल आपने ऊपर बनाया है 10 kgs पे 1 यूनिट, 8 पर 2 यूनिट्स, 6 पर 3 यूनिट्स. Just draw this graph. Guys, 2 marker, 3 marker, you're going to get full marks. Coming back to this. Now, अगर यही demand is by all the consumers of a particular product at a particular price, तो हम उसको बोलेंगे ये market demand curve है. as you can look at the table, it is not just one consumer, it is more than one consumer. आप एग्जाम में 2 बना सकते हो, 3 बना सकते हो, but when you talk about a market demand curve, so you just have to say market demand is the total demand of the commodities of all the consumers at a given price during a given period of time. मतलब जितने consumers हैं मार्केट में, सबकी demand of that particular product at a given price at a particular time is the market demand. याद हो गया दिमाग में? जब आप टेबल बनाएंगे, have more than 2 consumers. यहां पर आपकी किताब में 3 है, आपको 4 करने हैं, आप 4 भी कर सकते हैं. You can stick to the table like 10 था. Earlier there was 1 consumer, now they have taken up 3 consumers. As you can see, at price 10 rupees, A consumer is wanting 5 units, B is wanting 10, C is wanting 15. So what is the total market demand of that particular product at that particular time at the particular price rupees 10? It is 5 plus 10 plus 15, which is 30. Similarly, consumer को और units चाहिए, price गिर गया, 8 हो गया. अब कंज्यूमर ए को कितना यूनिट्स खरीदता है? वो 10 खरीदता है. बी कितना खरीदता है? 15. सी हाउ मच? 20. सो एट अ पर्टिकुलर प्राइस विच इज 8, all the consumers in the market, which is A, B, C, how many units they are buying together? It is 45. This is market demand. I hope you understand what is market demand. So a 2-marker market demand means at a particular price, at a particular time, product demanded by all the consumers is market demand. I hope I am very sound and clear. And guys, once again, please table banana, graph banana. Graph में labeling is very important. Y axis पे price, X axis पे quantity, demand curve है DD1, DD. You need to give it a name. ये DD graph है, right? Labeling is very essential. You make a graph without labeling it, you won't get marks. Am I very clear? Graph should always be supported by a table and the graph should be very well labeled. Now, so we understand the individual demand and the market demand. Now guys, let us understand why does the demand curve slope downwards? A repetitive question in the HSC board examination. Why does a DD curve or a demand curve slopes downwards? अभी देखो, ये वही बात हो गई जो हमने चैप्टर नंबर 2 में किया है, डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी. गाइज, हम पहले पढ़ चुके हैं that as we keep on consuming a particular item at a particular time, then slowly and gradually the utility of that particular product keeps on falling. Now it's very commonsensical that when the utility of an item will fall, you would not be ready to pay the same price which you were ready to pay when the utility was higher. So when I was ready to pay 10 rupees, when I didn't even have 1 unit, then for buying that 1 unit, I was ready to pay 10 rupees. But when I want more of it, the utility of the second unit has actually fallen because diminishing marginal utility has stepped in. So the price of the product has to fall, which will incentivize me. मतलब मेरे को इच्छा करेगी जब to buy more. So that's the concept of diminishing marginal utility and the reason why demand curve slopes downwards. That is, as you will keep on reducing the price, the consumer would be ready to buy more. Coming up to the next reason is the income effect. अब logical सी बात है. If the price of a commodity falls, तो क्या है, आपकी परचेजिंग पावर बढ़ जाती है. अभी कैसे बढ़ जाती है? बहुत छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल. लेट अस से आप एक कोल्ड ड्रिंक खरीदते हो फॉर 15 रुपीज. अभी 15 रुपीज में एक ही कोल्ड ड्रिंक आती है, राइट? पर आपका साथ आपका फ्रेंड भी है एंड यू वांट टू बाय 2 कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स, बट 2 कोल्ड ड्रिंक के लिए 30 रुपीज नहीं खर्च करने का मन है आपको. इतनी भी इच्छा नहीं है कि पूरी पूरी कोल्ड ड्रिंक पिए. सो बट अगर सोच के देखो, द प्राइस ऑफ द कोल्ड ड्रिंक गेट्स डाउन फ्रॉम 15 rupees a bottle to 10 rupees a bottle. Now you'll end up spending only 20 rupees to buy 2 bottles. तो कहीं ना कहीं the income in your hands, earlier you were ready to spend, you could have spent 30 rupees for buying 2 bottles, now you will be spending only 20 rupees to buy those 2 bottles. Now this is known as the income effect. So when the price falls, प्राइस गिरा तो परचेजिंग पावर कंज्यूमर की बढ़ गई, क्योंकि वो कम पैसे में ज्यादा सामान ले पा रहा है, क्योंकि उसके पास पैसा बच रहा है. समझ में आ रहा है? ही इज सेविंग ऑन दैट मनी. इसको हम बोलते हैं कि आपके पास ज्यादा डिस्पोजेबल इनकम हो रही है. सो दैट्स द इनकम इफेक्ट. सो आपको एग्जामिनेशन में सिंपल सी बात रखनी है. नाउ टू गेट मोर मार्क्स, प्लीज यूज द वर्ड इन केस ऑफ नॉर्मल गुड्स. इन केस ऑफ नॉर्मल गुड्स, because of income effect, when the price falls, the purchasing power of the consumer increases. I want that word normal goods. The reason I'll tell you later in the class, later as we proceed. Next is the substitution effect. देखो, अगर मेरे पास पैसा बच जाता है तो maybe I can buy something else. Yes or no? So that's exactly the reason that in case of a substitute good, when the price of a commodity rises, right, the consumer tends to buy more of its substitute and less of that commodity where the price has increased. This is known as substitution effect. अब आप बोलोगे मैम इसका डिमांड कर्व नीचे गिर रहा है, उसका क्या कारण है ना? इट्स लाइक योर सब्स्टिट्यूट. लेट्स से तुम ब्रांड ए को इस्तेमाल करते हो, अभी ब्रांड ए की वैल्यू बढ़ गई, ठीक है, ब्रांड ए की वैल्यू बढ़ गई, तुम उसको खरीद नहीं पा रहे हो, तुम क्या करना चाहोगे? तुम उस पैसे को उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट में लगाना चाहोगे जिसकी प्राइस कम है. सो वन रीजन व्हाई डिमांड कर्व स्लोप्स डाउनवर्ड इज दैट व्हेन द प्राइस फॉल्स यू आर रेडी टू सब्स्टिट्यूट इट फॉर सम अदर प्रोडक्ट व्हिच इज अफोर्डेबल बाय यू. Okay, so we understand the diminishing marginal utility, we understand income effect, we understand the substitution effect. And guys, last 2 points but not the least, multi-purpose uses. अगर कोई चीज can be used for more than one purposes, usually आपकी किताबों में example is of electricity, that you use electricity for various reasons. So when the price falls, you may be able to use it for various other purposes. Let me put up an example, not of electricity. Let's say coffee. Simple example of coffee. Usually we use coffee for the purpose of only, drinking a cup of coffee. But all of us know coffee is also a very good, ingredient to become fairer, right? आजकल बहुत यूज होता है. तो अगर price of coffee will reduce, तो मैं उससे कॉफी का कप भी बना के पी पाऊंगी, एंड एट द सेम टाइम आई विल बी एबल टू यूज इट फॉर मेकिंग अप माई फेस मास्क. नाउ दैट्स द मल्टीपर्पज यूसेज ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट. And of course, when the product falls, the price of the product falls, then more consumers are able to join because they are also able to afford that particular product. So the reasons for downward sloping of demand curve are law of diminishing marginal utility, income effect, substitution effect, more consumers joining in, and the multi-purpose usage of that particular product. Yes? Okay. Now, let's talk about the types of demand. ठीक है, ये एग्जाम में बहुत आती है for 2 markers. So, direct demand and indirect demand, complementary and joint demand, composite and competitive demand. लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन होता है 6 मार्क का, जो आपका 8 मार्कर क्वेश्चन आता है इसमें, wherein we have to talk about what is demand curve and its features and assumptions and types. तब तो you have to write it down. But usually this comes out for a 2 marker. Direct demand और indirect demand, simple सा चीज, जो चीज directly consumer की desire को पूरा कर सके, that's a direct demand. For example, if I'm talking about, we took up the example of coffee. So the coffee powder is a direct demand, right? But the plantation wherein the coffee is grown is an indirect demand. Right? So look at the example they have given. So it is a demand which satisfies the demand by the consumer for goods which satisfies their want directly, like cloth, sugar. ये directly आपकी demand पूरी करती है. This is the example which they have given you, right? But the cotton wool या जो पेड़ है, right? उससे आप क्या बनाओगे? उससे आप cotton बनाओगे. Now वो directly consumer की demand पूरी नहीं करता, right? शुगर केन है, वो डायरेक्टली आपकी डिमांड ऑफ शुगर पूरी नहीं करता. सो द डिमांड फॉर शुगर केन विल बी एन इनडायरेक्ट डिमांड. लाइक इफ यू वांट फर्नीचर, देन द डिमांड फॉर वुड वुड बी एन इनडायरेक्ट डिमांड. सो दैट्स व्हाट दे आर ट्राइंग टू से. सो indirect demand or a derived demand is the demand for goods which is needed for further production. So do I make sense? Direct and indirect demand is good with you. Now coming up to complementary and just a second. Okay. Complementary and joint demand are the two goods which are used together. जैसे आपके में एग्जाम्पल दिया हुआ है car and fuel. If you want to own a car, you need to run it, right? How do you run it? You need fuel for it. आज की डेट में बैटरी, इलेक्ट्रिकल ईवी व्हीकल्स आ रही है, तो उनको क्या चाहिए? फ्यूल नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन उनको बैटरी चार्जिंग स्टेशंस तो चाहिए ना. सो दीज आर गुड्स which are supposed to be used together. इनकी जो डिमांड है, they'll be together, right? It's like you want to have a पाव भाजी. कार और फ्यूल डिफिकल्ट लग रहा हो तो पाव भाजी आ रहा है. अभी भाजी विदाउट अ पाव doesn't make sense यार. You need to have pav with the bhaji. That's a complementary or a joint demand. Composite demand. Composite demand means which can be put for several uses, right? Again, they give the example of electricity, but you can choose your own example. That is anything which is used for more than one purposes. That's a composite demand. Then competitive demand. Now guys, competitive demand, we talk about substitutes. For example, you can use, instead of sugar, you can use even jaggery when you're making a cup of tea. Now jaggery becomes a competitive product for the sugar. So competitive demand is talking about two products which compete with each other, or they are their substitutes. मैं बीच के जो tables हैं वो नहीं करवा रही हूँ. I would like आप इसको खुद करिए, and then you can demand me for a session wherein if anything is not coming out correct, you can always demand a lecture and we can discuss the question answers. Going further, the determinants या क्या reasons हैं, what are the factors which determine demand? बहुत सारे factors हैं. Let's generally discuss them. Then we can use the textbook. One reason to all of us understand is the price. Right? That is, as the price keeps on reducing, the quantity demanded keeps on increasing. But certain times, guys, it's not essential that it's only price which is the reason behind the demand being more or demand increasing. Let me put it like this. मेरी पहले इनकम सिर्फ 50,000 रुपये महीना थी, राइट? तो मैं एक पर्टिकुलर चीज खरीदना चाहती थी, पर मेरे पास उतने पैसे ही नहीं बचते थे कि मैं उस चीज को खरीद सकूं, क्योंकि मेरे पास इनकम ही नहीं थी. लेकिन अब आप सोचिए, अगर मेरी सैलरी 50,000 से 1 लाख हो गई, now I will have enough money to buy that particular thing which I was desiring for. So income is also one of the very important determinant or a factor which determines the demand. Similarly, population, advertisement, substitute, बहुत सारे reasons हैं. We can keep on discussing one by one. Let's say population. Okay, I'm a teacher. Now I put up my coaching class in an area wherein all senior citizen people stay, and the children are all working and they are not staying with them. Now putting up a coaching class in such an area, you tell me, will it be successful? No. The right kind of audience is not there. No, if I am teaching grade 11th and 12th, so I need students in the vicinity who can come down to my class. So when we talk about population, we can understand in both the manner. One is the right kind of audience, target audience or the customer should be there to buy that product. And secondly, we can understand that the product which you are selling, if the population there was earlier of 500 people and now if it increases to 2,000 people, automatically the demand for your product will increase because there are new customers, right? Next, let's talk about government policy. Let's say गवर्नमेंट ने एक रूल निकाला जिसकी वजह से द प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर टैक्सेस नहीं है, राइट? अभी टैक्स नहीं होगा, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स नहीं होगा, सो ऑटोमेटिकली द प्राइस ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट विल बिकम चीपर. So government rule and regulation is also a very important factor to determine the demand of a particular product. Next, you can talk about substitute or complementary products existing. If, let's say, the price of a complementary product has fallen down, so the demand for that complementary product will increase. But वो complementary product X या product Y के साथ इस्तेमाल हो सकता है, तो automatically the demand of that X and Y will increase. जबकि price of that product has not fallen down, but the complementary product का price अगर नीचे गया है, तो automatically दूसरे प्रोडक्ट का डिमांड बढ़ गया है, जबकि उसकी प्राइस बढ़ी नहीं है. भी इसके बारे में हम डिटेल में आगे भी बात करेंगे. सेम गोज इन फॉर सब्स्टिट्यूट्स. अभी आई एम यूजिंग अ प्रोडक्ट जिसका एक परफेक्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट अवेलेबल है, एंड दैट परफेक्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट की प्राइस हैज फॉलन डाउन, वो कम हो गई है. तो कोई मेरा प्रोडक्ट क्यों खरीदेगा? आप ये बताओ. ये प्रोडक्ट अगर 10 रुपए पे 1 kg मिल रहा है और इसका एग्जैक्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट, परफेक्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट 8 रुपीज में मिल रहा है, सो ऑटोमेटिकली द डिमांड ऑफ दिस प्रोडक्ट इज गोइंग टू फॉल, दो द प्राइस हैज नॉट चेंज. बट व्हाई इट विल फॉल? बिकॉज पीपल विल स्टार्ट यूजिंग द सब्स्टिट्यूट विच इज अवेलेबल एट अ चीपर प्राइस. सो एग्जाम में कुछ ना समझ में आए तो गाइस थोड़ा सा हम लॉजिकली भी सोच सकते हैं. Anyways, going by it for the purpose of learning, how many factors are there which determine demand? One is the price. I think all of us know about price now. Second is the income, which we understand that if my purchasing power increases, I can buy more of a particular product even though the price of the product has not changed. The price of the substitute good, which we just talked about. The price of the complementary good, we just talked about. नेचर ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट. नेचर ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट इज समथिंग, इट्स लाइक अगर कोई चीज नेसेसिटी है, अगर आप मुझे बोलो कि दूध का प्राइस बढ़ गया है तो दूध कम पियो, अरे दूध इज अ नेसेसिटी, यू नीड टू बाय मिल्क असेंशियली, राइट? या आप मुझे बोलो आटे का प्राइस बढ़ गया है, बट आटा इज नीडेड, हाउ विल आई सर्वाइव? दैट्स द बेसिक ingredient which I need for the purpose of having my food. It's a necessity. Even if the price is high or it increases, I will still demand the same product. इसके बारे में more detail पढ़ेंगे as we move further. Chapter number 3B में we'll be discussing elasticity. तो आपको और भी better समझ में आने लगेगा. Size of population, I just discussed that if the population size is going to increase, automatically new customers are added up, so demand will increase. Expectation of the future prices. अभी द मोमेंट ऐसा आता है सबके दिमाग में शेयर मार्केट आ जाता है, बट शेयर मार्केट छोड़ो. अभी फ्यू डेज बैक इट वाज लाइक द प्राइस ऑफ टोमेटो विल गो अप, सो पीपल स्टार्टेड होर्डिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट इन देयर हाउस. क्यों? कि प्राइस इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज, लेट्स बाय मोर. सो व्हाट वाज दैट? द एक्सपेक्टेशन दैट द प्राइस ऑफ दिस प्रोडक्ट इज गोइंग टू राइज. नेक्स्ट इज गाइस टेस्ट्स एंड हैबिट्स. इफ यू आस्क मी, if somebody says, ma'am, coffee has become cheaper, you start taking coffee. No, I am in a habit of consuming tea. So even if the price of tea will not fall down or even if it will increase, I will still like to consume tea only. So there are loads and loads of factors, guys, which determine your demand. And last but not the least, level of taxation, right, which I talked in terms of गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी. तो अगर हम याद करें तो कैसे याद कर सकते हैं? प्राइस का P ले ले, इनकम का I ले लें, राइट? कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री गुड्स, सब्स्टिट्यूट गुड्स. एक वर्ड बन गया पिक्स. कैन यू रिमेंबर दैट? सो P इज फॉर प्राइस, I इज फॉर इनकम, C इज फॉर कॉम्प्लीमेंट गुड्स एंड C इज फॉर सब्स्टिट्यूट्स, राइट? सो 4 हो गए. नेक्स्ट कम्स आउट, यू कैन राइट अबाउट nature of the product, right? Population, right? Your habits, right? Okay? गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी. सो NPHG, कोई वर्ड बन रहा है इससे? कैन यू मेक सम वर्ड आउट ऑफ इट? कैन वी एड एडवर्टाइजमेंट टू इट? अब कोई वर्ड बन रहा है नैप, NAP, नैप. हरिओम और गौतम ने नैप लिया. सो कैन वी रिमेंबर पिक्स मिली मुझे, हरिओम और गौतम ने दी और हमने जाके नैप लिया. हमारे पास पिक्स NAPHG, मैं एक बार के लिए बोर्ड रब करती हूं and write it again for you guys so that we remember this. So whenever we have to write about the factors that affect demand, हमारे पास एक दिमाग में एक स्टोरी बननी चाहिए कि हरिओम गौतम गए, पिक्चर्स ली उन्होंने और फिर जाके वो लोग सो गए. ठीक है, तो अब हिंदी मीडियम है तो स्पेलिंग ऑफ नेप कर दे तो चलेगा, राइट? Okay, so I'm writing it down again for you guys. Please remember, Hariom Gautam took the pictures का PICS, and then they went to sleep, nap, but nap की spelling nape कर देना, बस NAP. Now H is for hobbies, G is for your government policies, जैसे कि taxation. P is for the price, as the price reduces, demand increases. I is for your income, that is, income ज़्यादा होगी तो even if the price doesn't change, consumer would be ready to buy. C is for complementary goods, that if the complement good of my product is going to become cheaper, automatically the demand for my product is going to increase even though the price hasn't changed. Substitute, if the substitute good would become cheaper, the demand for your product or the product in question will fall even though the price hasn't fallen. N is for normal, the nature of the product. Product का nature कैसा है, that will determine the demand. अगर necessity है तो even if the price is high, you'll still want to buy that product. A is for advertisement. Certain times the demand of the product increases because बोलते ना जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. More of advertisements can actually gear up the demand for that particular product. P is the next P was for the people, the population which is around you, which I explained you. And E is the expectation that okay, इस चीज का price बढ़ने वाला है तो okay, I may decide to hold those goods. So H is for hobbies or habits, G is for government policy, P is for price, I is for income, C is for complement, S is for substitute, N is for normal goods, A is for advertisement, P is for population, and E is for expectation. याद हो गया guys, the factors affecting demand. So now the major features are done. Other factors are climatic condition, government policy, customs and traditions. You may write them. Let's come up to the next important thing. Out of studying everything, demand क्या होती है, individual demand, market demand, determinants of demand. Now it is time that we decide that what is it that is the main determinant, or you can say on what basis we define that the demand for a product is going to increase or decrease because of this particular reason, या जिसको हम बोलते हैं law of demand. In words of Alfred Marshall, the more the price of the good would be, lesser the quantity demanded would be. But important is other things being equal. Other things equal matlab, assumption is there is no change in income, there is no change in population, there are no change in the prices of substitutes and complements. Habits nahi hai. That means whatever those factors of demand the, उनको कांस्टेंट, उनको हम मानते हैं, उनमें कोई चेंज नहीं है. सो कीपिंग अदर थिंग्स बीइंग इक्वल, इफ द प्राइस ऑफ द कमोडिटी इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज, द डिमांड इज गोइंग टू फॉल. नाउ फॉर अ 2 marks question, if you are asked write law of demand, right? So you will write down. If you don't remember the name of the author, no problem, you may write down. Other things being equal, ये बहुत जरूरी है, because अगर इनकम में चेंज होता है, सब्स्टिट्यूट के प्राइस में चेंज होता है, कॉम्प्लीमेंट के प्राइस में चेंज होता है, देन लॉ ऑफ डिमांड डज नॉट स्टैंड ट्रू. सो यू हैव टू स्टार्ट विद द फैक्ट अदर थिंग्स बीइंग इक्वल, higher the price of the good, lower the demand. Yeah, lower the price of the good, higher the demand, whatever. Then for a 2 marker, essentially write this. X is the commodity, that is demand for the commodity is dependent on what? The price of the commodity. इसके आगे F is the function. F means function, right? So please write down this. D is equal to dx is equal to F px. अब बच्चे स्टूडेंट्स गलती क्या करते हैं? D is equal to FP लिख के आ जाते हैं, नंबर नहीं मिलेगा. You have to be very clear. Demand of what? Demand of a good, demand of a product. वो X is the product. And look at this. You also need to define this in the examination. ये भी बहुत सारे बच्चे नहीं करते, सिर्फ लिख के आ जाते हैं. dx is equal to F px ऐसा लिख के आ जाते हैं. No marks, क्योंकि एग्जामिनर को क्या पता ये क्या चीज है. So please, for those 2 marks also, please write it down. D means demand, X means commodity, F means function, px means the price of the commodity. I hope I am very sound and clear. So those 2 marks आपको ऐसे मिल सकते हैं अगर आप छोटी छोटी बातों का ध्यान रखें. And of course, this law of demand is based on the assumptions. Assumptions को याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि जो भी determinants of demand थे वही सब assumptions. Income has to remain constant. Income change होगी तो फिर even if the price doesn't change, the demand will change. Population में कोई change नहीं है. सब्स्टिट्यूट और कॉम्प्लीमेंट के गुड में चेंज कोई नहीं है. एक्सपेक्टेशंस में कोई चेंज नहीं है. हैबिट्स में कोई चेंज नहीं है. टैक्सेशन पॉलिसी में कोई चेंज नहीं है. सो गाइज, इफ यू रिमेंबर द डिटर्मिनेंट्स ऑफ डिमांड, यू कैन राइट डाउन द अजम्पशंस ऑफ डिमांड. एम आई वेरी क्लियर? क्योंकि वही डिटर्मिनेंट्स ऑफ डिमांड विल बिकम द अजम्पशंस, दैट इज सब्स्टिट्यूट, कॉम्प्लीमेंट गुड्स, हॉबीज, इनकम, वो सारी वही चीजें. They should not change. If they do not change, then the law of demand holds good, and that is if the price reduces, demand increases or vice versa. Now, 2 marks के लिए तो आपको छोटी सी definition लिखनी है. मैंने आपको बता दिया क्या लिखना है. But if it's a 6 marker question or if it's a 4 marker question, then guys, please, importance of making a graph is very, very important, right? So here we go. Law of demand बना लिया. Again, just make a table, pick up a price. Here they have chosen at 50 rupees of price, commodity demanded is 1. Reduce the price, it went down to 40, the quantity demanded is 2. And on this basis, they have made a demand curve. And I hope अब सबको demand curve बनाना आ गया होगा. Labeling is very, very important. On the x-axis is the quantity demanded, on the y-axis is the price. Please label it properly. Give the name. It is DD, right? Line को, slope को नाम दीजिए DD. Make this particular table, make this graph, and I think each one of us can make that demand curve now. So once we are very clear with the demand, that what are the factors which affect demand, we understand the law of demand. Now we should understand that does this law of demand holds true in all situations or are there any exceptions? Again, a very, very important question in the examination. They ask you reasons and assertions में ये बहुत आ जाता है. Exceptions of demand. They can give you that given paradox के ऊपर शॉर्ट नोट आ जाता है. प्रेस्टीज गुड्स के ऊपर रीजनिंग असर्शन में जैसे बोल रहे हो, दे कैन मेक यू 1 लाइनर, जहां पर आपको देख के समझना पड़ता है कि अच्छा जो लाइन लिखी है वो सही है या गलत है. अगर गलत है तो उसका रीजन देना पड़ता है. You need to understand that this particular part of the chapter is very important. This is the nutshell which I am trying to tell you. So law of demand holds good, that if all other factors affecting demand are constant, law of demand holds good. But is there an exception that even if the price is reducing, still the demand is not increasing? This holds good. मैं given goods से पहले I like to talk about prestige goods. I am buying a branded purse, a branded handbag. I buy it because it's a matter of style, it's a matter of prestige for me that I can afford a handbag worth rupees 2 lakh rupees. Now, if the price of that handbag will reduce, or is there a discount being given on that bag, it may discourage me for buying that product, because that product is no more an element which gives that style statement, or it defines that I am the person who can afford that. I would not like to buy that product. So, prestige goods, they define status. I would not like the price of that good to go down. I would like to buy it only when it's expensive, right? Speculation. It's like, speculation hota kya hai? Speculation is a person does not have the intention to actually get into the transaction. That's known as speculation. अब यहाँ पर इसने लिखा हुआ है कि when people expect prices to rise still further, in this case, although the prices have risen today, consumers will demand more in anticipation of the further rise in price. Kyun? People are expecting that the prices will increase. So let me hoard this particular product right now, because tomorrow if the price will increase still more, I will be benefited. Now these people do not have speculation general in sense of which I'm trying to tell you is that they don't want to enter into the transaction. That is, they don't want to hold that thing. They just want to make a gain out of it. ठीक है? तो उस नजर से देखिए that if we believe that the price of the good is going to increase, but I'm still buying more of it because I feel that the price of the good is going to increase still more. So I'll be benefited when I'm going to sell this, because I bought it at a cheaper rate, I can sell it at a higher rate. Next, coming up, price illusion. This I do not know, because I think price illusion I can always, relate it to prestige theory. But here in HSC books, when they talk about price illusion, it is not talking about prestige. This they are trying to say that people are ready to pay a higher price if they believe that the quality of the product is better, or it is, if the product has a lesser price, uski quality kam hogi, that the quality of that product is directly being related to the price. That's a price illusion. That if the thing will be expensive, it is going to be a better quality product. That's what the price illusion is. So do not confuse this with prestige, right? Ignorance. People are just ignorant. They just buy the good at a higher price. Habitual goods. Something is a matter of habit and we just want to use it because it's a matter of habit. Now, so we have got prestige goods, we have got speculation, we have got price illusion, we have got ignorance, and we have got habitual goods, right? So can we make something out of it? S, P, I, H. How many times P is coming? It is P square and I, S, I. Can we make some mnemonic out of it? दो बार P है, एक बार S है, एक बार I है, एक बार H है. So can we say she P square? Can we remember it like this? She P square? She. Right? S is for speculation, H is for habitual goods, I is for ignorance, 1P is for prestigious goods and 1P is for price illusion. मैंने given paradox नहीं बताया क्योंकि वो अपने आप में 2 marker भी आता है, and that's also that's a major exception. Given paradox talks about inferior goods. मैं इसके बारे में और भी बात करना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि when we'll talk about elasticity, we'll have to talk about normal goods, inferior goods, superior goods. So simple sense में मैं इसको एक छोटा सा example लेके I'll just put in. Say for example, usually the example given is of wheat, jowar, barley. I feel we as younger generation, we don't understand this. Let's talk about, let's say, I eat a simple candy toffee, right? Now, because I don't have enough money to buy expensive chocolate, Okay. Now, if that candy price is going to fall, say earlier that candy or a chocolate, that simple chocolate or that non-branded chocolate was available for, let's say, 5 rupees for one chocolate, right? And I want to eat one chocolate every day, right? Now, that inferior chocolate has become of 3 rupees. And that superior quality chocolate or that branded chocolate is available for, let's say, 7 rupees. Now, earlier, for me to afford that chocolate was not possible. But now, when the price of this inferior good reduces, I can think that, okay, if I don't eat for 2 days, I can think of buying a superior or a branded chocolate. This is simple a mindset. कि inferior quality की चीज की value, price जब कम होती है, it gives us that feeling that what? Instead of buying more of this, can I go in for a superior quality good? This is what is a Giffen paradox. That is, when an inferior quality product price reduces, the person is discouraged. Instead of buying more, it wants to buy lesser of that, wants to save money and wants to go in for buying a better quality product or a superior quality or a normal quality good. So do I make sense? So guys, exceptions to law of demand में हम के साथ क्या याद रखेंगे? P square. P square. She का S is for speculation, H is for habitual goods, I is for ignorance, though P is for prestigious goods and for price illusion. And इसके साथ है Giffen paradox. Giffen paradox 2 marker के लिए भी आता है. It talks about inferior good. जितना inferior good होता है, even उसका price अगर low भी होता है, we don't want to buy more. We want to save money and go in for a higher quality good. So is the exception of law of demand very clear? और याद भी हो गया? अब हमने सारी पढ़ाई कर ली है बच्चों, बट ये अब एक लास्ट पार्ट है. मैंने आपसे पहले ही बोला था ये चैप्टर बहुत बहुत जरूरी है. एंड दिस लास्ट पार्ट इज द वेरिएशन इन डिमांड. ये लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन भी आता है, 3 मार्कर, 4 मार्कर, 2 मार्कर, सब जगह आता है. चैप्टर 3 and 3B across the economics table examination. So variations in demand. Now guys, variation on demand को पढ़ने के लिए I will like to talk about 2 things. One is expansion contraction और एक होता है increase decrease. ठीक है? Okay, before I take up this particular text material, I would like to switch down to the whiteboard, explain you, and then we can come back to our text material. Okay, so here we are, we have our whiteboard. Okay, so guys, one is expansion and contraction of demand. रबड़ को देखा है कभी? ऐसे खींचो, वापस आता है ऐसे. एक्सपेंशन कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. एक्सपेंशन कॉन्ट्रैक्शन पे एक ही बात याद रखो, एक्सपेंशन एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्शन हैपेंस ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ प्राइस. So if I try to draw a demand curve, I make a demand table. That is, this is my demand table. This is the price. This is the quantity. Let's say at price 10, my quantity demanded is 1. At price 8, my quantity demanded is 2. At price 6, my quantity demanded is 3. At this, it is 5. Let's say this is my demand schedule. Can I jot it down? Now here it is quantity and here it is the price. Yes? So 10, 8, 6, 4. And can I put here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I very clear? मैंने ये जानबूझ के बनाया so that you also understand how to make the demand. Now at 10 rupees, what is my, okay, at 8, the demand is 2. So if I extend this, this is 2. At 6 rupees of price, the quantity demanded is 3. So can I just draw this? Yes. At price 4, the quantity demanded is 5. So we have got these points, yes or no? And now I add all these points. फिर मैं इसको नाम दूंगी D. So the demand curve, this is the demand schedule. अब इसमें expansion contraction क्या है? आप बोलोगे expansion is what? Let's say if the price आपका 10 to 8 हुआ, that means expansion means price falls. Price fall हुआ तो क्या हुआ? आपका डिमांड जो है 1 से 2 की तरफ गया. ये एरोज बनाने बहुत जरूरी है. दिस इज एक्सपेंशन. प्राइस गिरा, डिमांड बढ़ा. दिस इज एक्सपेंशन. प्राइस फॉल्स, डिमांड इंक्रीजेस. यस और नो? डिमांड एक्सपैंड्स. प्राइस गिरा, डिमांड एक्सपैंड हुआ. अगर मैं इसको बोलूं कि प्राइस बढ़ा, लेट्स से प्राइस तुम्हारा 6 से 8 हुआ. यस, प्राइस बढ़ा, इट हैज इंक्रीज्ड. व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन? 6 to 8 हुआ तो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? 3 to अंदर की तरफ आता है ना, 3 to 2 हो गया ना डिमांड. सो इफ प्राइस इंक्रीज हुआ, व्हाट हैज हैपेंड? डिमांड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ. डिमांड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ. सो आर वी वेरी क्लियर विद एक्सपेंशन एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्शन? इफ प्राइस विल इंक्रीज, डिमांड विल डिक्रीज. इफ द प्राइस विल डिक्रीज, प्राइस विल इंक्रीज. बट ये डिक्रीज इंक्रीज जब हम बोलते हैं, लेकिन एग्जाम में प्राइस की वजह से डिमांड पे जो फर्क आता है, दैट इज नोन एज एक्सपेंशन एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. So I'm very clear, expansion and contraction happens only and only because of price, no other factor of production, no other factor of demand. Now guys, expansion contraction समझ में आ गया. Now increase and decrease. Increase and decrease, इसमें ध्यान रखना है फैक्टर अदर देन प्राइस. मतलब कोई भी फैक्टर होएगा लेकिन प्राइस नहीं होगा. प्राइस विल रिमेन कांस्टेंट. योर प्राइस विल नॉट चेंज. सो इफ आई टेक अप द प्रीवियस डिमांड शेड्यूल, आई एम नॉट मेकिंग दैट डिमांड शेड्यूल नाउ. Now let's say this was my demand curve, right? This is the quantity demanded, this is the price. This is my demand schedule. Now if I tell you that advertisement expenditure increased, and due to which the demand for the product has increased, though the demand price is still 8. Let's say price abhi bhi 8 ही रुपए है. At 8 rupees there were only 2 units of quantity demanded. But I tell you we did lot of advertisements, and उसकी वजह से though the price is still 8, but people have demanded 4 units. अभी प्राइस तो नहीं चेंज हुआ बट डिमांड चेंज हो गई, तो आपका डिमांड कर्व शिफ्ट हो गया ना. देखो ये D1 बोल सकते हो इसको. ये बढ़ गया, ये शिफ्ट हो गया. दिस इज नोन एज शिफ्ट. So shift of the demand curve always happens because of a reason other than price. मैंने यहाँ पे एडवर्टाइजमेंट लिया है. Let's say I take up the example of income. इनकम reduce हो गई, मेरी इनकम गिर गई. अभी प्राइस तो वही है, प्राइस इज 8, बट द डिमांड हैज फॉलन डाउन टू 1 यूनिट. अभी प्राइस वही है लेकिन डिमांड कम हो गई है. तो कैन यू सी दिस? आपका डिमांड कर्व शिफ्ट हो गया. सो शिफ्ट ऑफ द डिमांड कर्व हैपेंस बिकॉज ऑफ अ रीजन अदर देन प्राइस. आई redo it. Let's say if I say that the income has increased by 50,000, so the demand of a good increased by 10 units. इसका मतलब अगर मेरा डिमांड शेड्यूल ऐसा है Let's say this is my original demand schedule, D1, DD demand curve है, this is my price and this is my quantity. अभी price वही है, let's say this is the price. So this was the demand curve. अभी income बढ़ गई है, तो they are saying that income has increased, price hasn't increased. Price गिरा नहीं है, price वही है, लेकिन income बढ़ गई है तो demand बढ़ गई है. तो at the same price, the quantity demanded has increased. This is known as increase in demand curve. हमेशा arrow बना के जरूर दिखाना. This is increase in demand curve. और increase and decrease को हमेशा shift बोलते हैं. So increase in demand. Labeling should be very proper. This should be known as DD1. Yes. Similarly, if I tell you that, for some reason that the demand of the product has fallen, though the price has not changed, it will be decrease in demand. So I hope everybody has understood increase, decrease, expansion, contraction only and only because of price. Price is the only reason for expansion and contraction. Increase and decrease, shift. It brings a shift in the demand and it is because of a reason other than price. Price वही रहता है, but demand curve shift हो जाता है. ऊपर हो जाता है या नीचे हो जाता है. Graph properly बनाना, labeling जरूर करना. If it is increase, please show this arrow to show an increase. If it is decrease, please show an arrow to show the decrease. So can we go back to the text material now? So we are back with our text material. Can you see? So they talk about the variation in demand. So when we talk about variation in demand, it can be expansion of demand. Can you see? Expansion of demand. The demand has increased because the price has decreased. Or it can be contraction. The price has increased, so demand has decreased. Can you look at the arrow? Contraction. Quantity decrease hui kyunki price बढ़ा. Arrows will be very, very important. And on the other hand, when we talk about the shift, changes in demand curve, increase in demand curve, look at the graph. Arrow. It has to be for a reason other than price. So they show you the increase and the decrease. So I hope after this session, all of you know everything about demand. Yes? What is demand, the law of demand, the determinants of demand, market demand, individual demand, exceptions to demand, contraction and expansion, increase and decrease of demand. If you have enjoyed my session, please do like and share it with your friends. Comment if you want any changes to be done and do subscribe to our channel. See you in the next class.